Hey, family. This is Che Willis coming back with another episode of Wealth is a Journey podcast. Guys, this is episode 126. 126 weeks of consistency, 126 weeks of getting it done. We outside, man. I am super excited about this episode specifically because we're going to get into some tough conversations that we need to have. But before we get started, if you are a first time listener, watcher, subscriber, thank you so much for joining us. On this podcast, we talk about faith, family, and finances, among other things. If you are a return listener, watcher, subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. Hopefully, we are adding value to your lives on the way to the M's because, as always, we are on the way to the M's. Now, I'm going to try something a little bit different today because I get a lot of questions about, um, you know, where do I need to be financially, or how can I get to where I want to be financially? And I'm going to try a new segment called Ask the Financial Guy. And in this segment, basically, you're going to drop your questions below in the comments, or you can DM me at Che Willis at Che.Willis on Instagram. And then what I'll do is I'll read your question on the podcast, and then I'll answer it. So I get a lot of questions about, hey, how do I do this or how do I do that financially? And I figure, why not make it a part of the conversation? Because I figure if you have the question, then somebody else may have the same question, and then I can answer it and help everybody. Again, we're here to add value. So with the conversation of adding value, we talk about where we want to be financially and where we want to be in life. And I talk to so many people on a day in, day out basis, week in, week out basis about their finances. And during these conversations, you know how you talk to somebody and you're like, they ask you a question and then you answer the question. And then based on their response to your answer, you know that they're going to do nothing with the information. So today's conversation is going to be surrounded on the requirements of your journey and where do you really want to be? Because we talk about a lot of times where we want to be financially or where we want to be in life. And if we're being honest, a lot of people are not ready to go where they need to go or be the person that they need to be to have what they say that they want. And so today we're going to talk about that and talk about some easy steps to get you on your journey because I also understand that people want to do well, but they just don't know how. They don't know the steps that it takes to get on their journey or where to start. So today we're going to talk about that and with that, you may see people on Instagram, you may see people on, any type of social media platform, and you may think that they're lucky, and they may be. But those who are wealthy or those who have, let's just say, achieved any type of level of success, they got things down and they actually became the person that they needed to become to have what they wanted. Because it's not like success isn't luck. Success actually is a consistent a person who is consistent in the thing that they're doing. They are constantly refining what they're doing. They're constantly getting better at the thing to get to their destination a lot faster. So today we're going to talk about that. We're going to get into some things and hopefully identify some things that you can do if you are struggling financially. Because if you are struggling financially, there has to be some type of pattern that you're in to have you struggling with your money. And it may be overspending. It may be, hey, I don't set up a budget, or hey, I have a bunch of different triggers that happen to me, or something happens and it triggers me to just spiral out of control with my spending. So, we're going to identify some things to get you on your journey so you can start getting to these M's, man. Because what I will tell you is money and having abundance and having what you want, is a lot simpler than you think. I'm not going to say it's easy, but it's a lot simpler than you think. But it's just going to require just a few different steps that you need to take to get there. So we're going to just identify three steps today. Something really like really, really simple. Something that's not too complicated, but it's something that if you feel like you're stuck, is going to at least get you moving, right? So the first step that we're going to talk about is identifying where you want to be. It's really that simple. Identify where you want to be. Some people want to be millionaires. Some people want to live a comfortable life. Some people just want a nice vacation. And my question to you is, where do you want to be? And identifying that. For me specifically, I wanted to retire when I was 45 years old. And at the time, I was just coming out of school. So I was a young guy. I was, partying, hanging out. And I realized quickly that I could not get to where I wanted to be if I continued down that road. And I'm not saying, hey, don't have a good time, don't party. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is you can't go overboard. And the way I was going a little overboard. But at the same time, I had to realize that if I wanted to retire by the time I was 45 and I was just coming out of school at 21, that I needed to do some things to get me there. And the things that was my requirement was to buy rental property. But what did I need to do to get the rental property? I needed to save money. So in order for me to save money, I needed to chill out on the partying. You see what I'm saying? So this, like, identifying where you want to be is going to help you become the person that you need to become, because then you're going to realize, hey, if I want to become a millionaire, or if I want to become a landlord, or I want to buy properties, or just buy your first property, like your primary residence, it's going to require you to stop doing some things that you may be currently doing that's going to take away from you getting to your destination, if that makes sense. So uh to fast forward, um it did take a few years for me to get my first property. But at the same time, I had to stop doing the things that I was doing, and I was able to get there. Now, was it easy? Not really. But what I will tell you is that while you're on your journey, each step that you take towards your destination, it will get easier and easier, because then you'll be in a consistent pattern of doing the thing that's going to require you to get to where you want to go. It's just that simple. But what I will tell you is just keep walking. Like, once you identify where you want to go and where you, or excuse me, once you identify where you want to go, just keep taking steps towards that thing. Once you map it out, and you'll get there. So that was number one. Number two is having that tough conversation. So I'm going to kind of bounce around with the examples. And so the tough conversation is the tough conversation with yourself, and then the tough conversation is also with possibly your spouse or your business partner. If you are new to this podcast, my wife and I, we did not combine our finances for the first 10 years of our marriage. Now, this, I talk about this all the time on the podcast because it was very, um, it was probably the toughest conversation that I had to have with my spouse, because we wanted to go somewhere together. But the tough conversation that I needed to have as the leader of my house was that, hey, I believe that we need to combine our finances, even though it was super uncomfortable for me to have the conversation. And once we had the conversation, we put a plan in place to actually combine the finances. So once we did that, we were able to do a lot of the nice things that we both wanted while we had our finances separated. But when we partnered together and came together as a team, we were able to accomplish a bunch of different goals. paying the house off, paying cars cash. We got a pool in our backyard. Like doing a lot of nice things, going on nice trips, being able to provide our son going to college at no expense to him. So we were able to do a lot of the things that we wanted to do while we were being individuals. But as we came together, we were able to provide a nice lifestyle for ourselves, and it was dope. Now, you may not be married, and that's okay. You have to have the tough conversation with yourself on after you identify where you want to be, and you kind of map out, not kind of, when you map out, like, okay, what do I need to do? What are the requirements of where I want to be? So if it's let's just say buying your first house. Okay, let's just say the first house is going to be $250,000, and I need to save for a down payment. Let's just say you need to save $20,000, and you only may have $1,000 to start. What are the requirements? What tough conversations do you need to have with yourself to get to where you want to be? So, what the tough conversation, in my opinion, would based on the scenario would be, hey, uh, maybe I need to chill out on going out for a little bit because I have somewhere I want to go. Where we fall into traps is that we want to go somewhere, we live a current lifestyle. The lifestyle does not support where we want to go, but we still try to do the thing and try to march towards the goal at the same time, and it really does not work like that. So if you're currently overspending, and you have a savings goal in this scenario of $20,000, and you're overspending, the two don't go together. So the tough conversation that you're going to have with yourself is, hey, I need to slow down on overspending. And the way that you're going to do that is going to be the budget. So you need to build into the budget um, monies to go towards your savings goal, which is then going to potentially take away from your overspending. And it's going to give you a plan on where you want to be financially. All roads lead back to the budget. Like the this podcast, like the way my wife and I were able to accomplish a lot of the goals that we accomplished, all roads led from the budget. You cannot escape it. Okay. So if you need help with your budget, I have free financial tools on my website at wealthlessjourney.com. I have a free how-to video. If you need one-on-one coaching, we have that for you as well. If you need that additional support. Now, um, uh, once you map out where you need to be, then it's time to execute the plan, right? And you have that tough conversation with yourself. the Having the tough conversation is it was not easy for me and my wife, but once we had it, it was the best decision that I made as the leader of my household to have the conversation, because we were able to accomplish so many great things, and we're now being an example too, which wasn't necessarily a goal of ours, but we're now able to be an example to a lot of our family members, and specifically our son, because we were not taught about finances. Like, we were taught a little bit, but um, we know a lot more now than we did when we were coming up. And the way that we're going to break the generational patterns is by being good at the thing financially, and then passing that information back to the people who are coming behind us. So that's number two. Number two is we have to have the tough conversation either with ourself or having the tough conversation with our spouse. So that's number two. All right. Number three is identify your triggers and build around it. Identify your triggers and build around it. So what do I mean? We talked about a few minutes ago. What are your triggers to send you off the deep end, to spiral out of control, whether it be spending or eating? In this case, we're going to talk about spending. If you are overspending, it is most likely because you don't have a budget that you are sticking to. So, what we need to do is first we need to give ourselves some grace and understand that if you are overspending, that maybe you were not set up for financial success when you were coming up. And that's okay. A lot of us were not. But once we identify that we have a problem, we can't sit in the problem. We have to shake ourselves free of the issue that we have. We can't stay there. So you need to identify whatever your triggers are. What is this thing that sends you over the deep end to spend? Um, and then once you identify that, then you build it in. When I say build it in, I'm talking about build it in your budget. What that means is if you have a goal of being somewhere, we talked about it a little bit ago, to put it in your budget, right? So also in your budget, you need to build in spending money for yourself, which is huge because a lot of times when we build our budget or we're doing a budget, we have our income, we have our expenses, and then after all of our expenses are paid, then we blow the rest of the money. So if we have an extra $500 in our quote unquote budget, then a lot of times we'll blow the $500, and then at the end of the year, we're looking around like, yo, where did all that money go that I made? The reason that's happening to you is because we don't have a plan for our money. So we have to build the spending money inside of our budget to then give ourselves permission to spend the money. Now, once you give yourself that permission, you cannot, again, I will repeat, you cannot go over what you already agreed to spend. So if you give yourself $300 for the month, or you give yourself $400 for the month, or whatever dollar amount that is, you cannot go over that amount. That's where we get into trouble. So once, I don't know if you want to pull the money out of your account, pull the $400 or the $300 out of your account and then walk around with the cash. Because that's another way that we get into trouble. We swipe credit cards and we swipe our debit card and we don't track the spending. So pulling the money out of your account and just keeping the money in your pocket so you can just pay for it, you feel you're actually feeling the money leaving you. When you're swiping, you don't feel anything, you don't see it. So you can physically see the money, you're giving it to the person and you can see exactly how much you have left. So maybe that may be a discipline that you want to build into your routine to get you where you want to be financially. But the thing is that we have to give ourselves grace, and the way we're going to give ourselves grace in our journey or starting on the journey is building in spending money for yourself and understanding that once you do that, we can't go over that amount because that's when we get into trouble. So if we can do those three things that I just described, first identifying where you want to be. The second thing is having the tough conversation with yourself or your spouse. And then the third thing is giving yourself grace and then building it in your budget based on the triggers that you have, basically. So if we can do that, then I believe that that will start you at the very least. If you could do those three small things, that will get you jump started on your journey, and you won't wonder how the people that you see are successful, because people who are successful, they have routines and they stick to them. And most people who are successful have boring routines. Like my guy Alistair Edwards, he was on the podcast before. He talks about mastering the mundane, and the mundane is the boring, is the thing that's not necessarily exciting, and budgeting is not necessarily exciting. However, if you do it the right way and you stick to it, that's when you can do the exciting things. So, you know, having the paid for items, the cars, the house, the different toys and things of that nature may not seem necessarily exciting to you. But what I will tell you is that if you don't have payments hanging over your head, then you can do a lot of the things that you want to do. And if you're paying things down and you're paying things off, you're going to have extra money as a result of mastering the mundane, which is building the payments in your budget and then paying the things down and then paying them off, building in your budget. So hopefully you understand exactly what I'm talking about. But where you want to go financially, where you want to be, it's going to require you to be a different person. You can't be the same person you are now and want to go somewhere financially. So if you're overspending now, stop it. Build it in your budget to give yourself permission for spending money for yourself. Once the money's gone, it's gone. You can't go back and you can't continue to overspend, man, because we got places to go. And not only that, if you have children, your children are watching you. And a lot of the financial issues that we have now are a result of us watching our parents overspend or watching our parents be bad with money or just not being taught how to handle money. So if we can do these things, then we're going to leave a legacy for our children. Our children are not going to, if we do end up with an inheritance that we're going to leave to our kids are not going to blow it because they were never taught. So it's really bigger than your feelings. It's really bigger than oh, I don't believe I can do this. You can do it, but it's going to require you to be somebody different than who you are right now. So if you need help, seek the help that you need. If you there are free resources on my website, but don't stay stuck, man, because the people who are coming behind you, the people who are living in your household, they need you. They need guidance. And it's going to be up to you to give them the guidance. So that's the episode. Hopefully, you've got something. Hopefully, this will help you jumpstart your financial journey. If you do have a question, please put it in the comments. If you have a comment, put it in the comments. Or you can reach out to me at wealthasajourney@gmail.com. If you have a question, I will read your question and I will answer it to the best of my ability. Thank you so much for tuning in. Wealth is a journey. We will see you next week. Peace.